Hello from Washington, D.C., our nation's capital. I spent over 20 years working in the U.S. military, honing my skills to assess, evaluate, and formulate strategic plans. Using these skills, we will analyze the facts with a high degree of rigor. We will use rational, skeptical, and unbiased analysis to evaluate the factual evidence. Are you ready to take a deep dive into today's events? It's time. It's time to trust but verify. So last Friday, Twitter took the extraordinary step to ban the President of the United States from using its platform, and they did it permanently. The ban sparked a conversation about how much big tech has power over our lives. Shortly after that, the Google Play Store and the Apple App Store suspended the right-wing alternative social media app Parler. Both companies demanded that Parler propose a plan to moderate their content. Amazon followed suit, stating that it would suspend Parler's access to the Amazon Web Services. And within 24 hours, Parler ceased to exist. So what do I think about this? Well, an argument can be made that Twitter, Facebook, Google Play Store, the Apple Store, Amazon Web Services, we can talk about corporate social responsibility, externalities, and the spillover effect. However, there's not a clear set of standards for all parties involved to follow. Parler's users, they use the platform to plan and attack the Capitol. There's no doubt. Parler has been hailed as an alternative to other platforms as a beacon of free speech, unmoderated content. However, the users' actions even violated Parler's own published community standards or community guidelines, which went unchecked. So is this more than a market failure? We have two companies that control almost every device in the market in the United States. And the main web services administrator determines that if they don't like your service, you're done. Think of what this means. If a company does not like the president, he's banned. If they don't like a group, they're banned. Their content's removed. So at the end of the day, Parler was used by rioters to plan and attack the Capitol, and this violated Parler's community guidelines, and they did nothing. Any alternative solution must focus on the middle where most of us lie. When any group, and I don't care, it doesn't matter if it's the Antifa movement, if it's Black Lives Matter, Nazis, QAnon, militias, when they use Twitter and other platforms to plan riots and looting, they should be all banned equally. Same standards should be for everyone, on the right, on the left, on the fringes. But Twitter banning Trump, it just kind of felt like a political activity to me. The information from his tweets were characterized by Twitter and Facebook as misinformation and disinformation, based on their analysis and not a universal standard. Now, I can tell you from my perspective, a lot of what President Trump put was misinformation, and a lot of it was disinformation. However, removing Trump, well, he's not the worst person in the world on Twitter. Right now, the left is cheering, yay, censorship, because someone that they don't like is being censored. The right saying, boo, and the reason why is because somebody they do like is being censored. But this will change when the shoe's on the other foot. No one thinks that zero moderation is the answer, especially when it comes to what we consider protective speech. If there was a clear standard and someone got banned or a group got banned because they violated that standard, I'm pretty sure everybody would just agree. The problem is that most people don't feel like the corporate policies are equal. The problem is that they don't feel it's fair. So how do we make a standard? Well, maybe should we revise Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act of 1996 to publish a set of public standards of moderation? Remember, this is a law that has allowed Facebook, Twitter, and the rest to exist. So unlike if I went on CNN tonight and I slandered you, you could sue me and you could sue CNN. However, we can't do that when it comes to Facebook, Twitter, and the rest. Now, if you want to learn more about this, check out Devin on Legal Eagle. He has discussions about this all the time. But here's what the law states. No provider or user of an interactive computer service shall be treated as the publisher or speaker of any information provided by another information content provider. Well, the law clarifies that the content is the speaker's responsibility, not the provider's. Still, it doesn't mean that the law could not ensure that a platform publishes and adheres to a public standard of moderation. In May of 2020, both President Trump and presidential candidate Joe Biden wanted Section 230 revoked. Their reasons were different. Trump's concern involved the moderation of the content on the internet because, his tweets were being fact-checked. Biden said that he wanted social media sites to be held liable for the content posted on the platforms. maybe this is a perfect time for a revision, and that's what I would do. I would write a clear set of standards, published for the public, moderated by the platform and the community, and this would remove the haphazard nature of what Twitter decides to fact check. And big tech determines whether or not a platform lives or dies. I mean, there's some challenges, don't get me wrong. I mean, we must think about how do we ensure a platform follows the law? What are the repercussions if they do not? And how do we add or moderate content that is just mis or disinformation? What happens with a hate group if they want to publish information? Who will be the fact checkers? So it's not a perfect possibility. However, where we're at right now is not the solution. We've got to come up with an alternative. And there's a possibility that the revision of Section 230 might be the first step.